Surprise! Hello, dear viewers. So, after all, there is going to be a YouTube video today, which I was not expecting to be able to do because I was actually going to be on a trip this week and I was going to be at a film festival doing a lot of networking, volunteering, catching up with old friends, meeting new friends, all that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, due to current events, that particular event was canceled or was postponed. Right now it looks like it'll be happening later in the year, which I'm very excited for, but it just kind of meant that I will have time to do a YouTube video this week, and I'll have a time to post this one and record the audio and get it finished up and prepare next week's. So YouTube schedule is back to normal. So plans changed, but I think they changed. It's okay. It'll be good. So yeah. So this is a poster that I illustrated and designed just kind of for fun. Lately, I've been wanting to do a big project, another poster-sized kind of project. I did one not quite a year ago. That was a commission. A friend commissioned me to do a poster for a story, a screenplay she'd written, and I really enjoyed that experience. It was really cool to make something big. It's kind of a challenge sometimes in Procreate because Procreate does put limits on the number of layers you can have depending on how large your working canvas is, and so that's kind of a fun challenge to work around because what I do is I will make copies of the file, and I'll have at least one that has the original sketch and the various layers from that sketch, and then I'll duplicate that Procreate file and I'll flatten the sketch, and then I'll do the line work, and I'll start on flat colors, but a lot of my flat colors are in different layers, and so eventually I'll have to duplicate that once all of my flat colors are how I want them, and then I'll do the shading, and it gets kind of complicated, but in a fun, challenging, how do I best adapt to the needs of this particular project. So I've been wanting to do another big project like that lately, and I finally got around to doing this one, and I'm very pleased with how it's turned out. This is a character that is not in the main story of Jade Torch, but he is almost within the expanded universe of Jade Torch, if you will. He and his family have been in my head for the last 5 or 6 years, kind of developing a story of their own that's a spin-off story from the world of Jade Torch, and they've been on my mind a lot lately, and so I've been wanting to draw them. So I wanted to do an epic kind of poster for these characters, alluding to part of their story and some of the challenges they face and some of the unique qualities of their story, and so that's what this was. I've always really been drawn to stories with a lot of lore and a expanded universe with, a lot of backstory, not just for characters, but for culture and for different elements within the world and different cultures within the world. I've always thought that J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings world and his universe for that, and all of the additional books with the history and the cultural relevance and the myths were just really cool. I haven't read all of them. I will be perfectly honest about that. I haven't. I don't think I can quite claim being a Tolkien nerd because I don't. I haven't even read all of the Lord of the Rings books. I admit I haven't. I've read almost all of them. But I just love how expansive that world is. I think it's so cool that as a linguist, Tolkien developed all of these languages for these different races and for these different cultures, and I think that's just really cool. And another story that I really like for that is George Lucas's Star Wars, especially the prequels. I like the original trilogy okay, but I love the prequels because I grew up on them, and they took this world, this broken galaxy from the original trilogy, and they showed you what it was. All of the immense world building, all of the political structures, all of the cultural backgrounds that these characters used to live in. And I think that is just really cool. It's also why, one of the reasons why I love the Clone Wars so much. I love the characters, but I also love the glimpse into the deeper world. So those are the kind of stories that I've always really admired, and that type of immense world building is what I've always kind of had in the back of my head for what I wanted Jade Torch to be like. I want it to be a very character-driven story, but I want the characters to inhabit this world that hints at a larger world, to where you see things and they talk about things that might not always be explained, but if you dove deeper, if you really looked, you can see visually all of the things that make this world unique and that make it deep and that make it thorough. I'm not a linguist, so I'm not planning on developing languages, as cool as that would be. I neither have the time, the inclination, nor the expertise to do so, unfortunately. So this character and his family sort of developed out of that desire for a larger, expanded world within the Jade Torch mythos, if you will. And I don't even know necessarily where he started. I may have a vague idea, but I remember him just cropping up sometime around my freshman, sophomore year of college, and he became one of the Jade Torch characters I drew the most, even though he may make a very small appearance sometime in Jade Torch, but it'll be almost like a cameo kind of piece. The beginning of his story does take place during between two of the first and the second Jade Torch books I have planned, but it'll be a separate story. He is very closely connected to someone who's already appeared in the Jade Torch comic pages, and she plays a big role in his life and in his family. So that's kind of where he began, in a vague kind of way. So when I'm wanting to challenge myself artistically, I don't always succeed at it, because I like to have fun when I'm drawing, and sometimes challenging yourself when you're drawing isn't fun, but I almost always reach the point to where I feel an urge to grow, or I feel an urge to test my limits. And I don't think I've tested my limits with this poster, but I think it was a very good exercise in, okay, let's not do something small. Let's see what you can do with a bigger poster. I think this is a 16 by 20 canvas, and so I made it that big specifically so that I could go and have it printed and put it up in my room, which is kind of nerdy, but that's okay, because I wanted to do that, and I haven't done it yet, but I'm definitely planning on going and having this printed and seeing it in all of its 16 by 20 glory on either a door or a wall in my room. So I wanted to do something big, and I wanted it to have a very epic feel. Compositionally, I was definitely going for a poster, and I will admit a lesson I learned is I didn't think up front, I didn't think enough about the positioning of the title, because later at the very end of the video you will see where I've added a title, and I didn't think about that enough up front. Compositionally, I needed to leave more room and do better planning for the text. We'll definitely be thinking about that and doing that better next time I attempt something like this. So I think that's part of challenging yourself, is it's not just about seeing how good you are and seeing how good you can get, but it's also about learning from the challenges so that you can better apply what you learn in the future. And I definitely think I've done that here. I've noticed recently in my art there's a lot of blue or purple and yellow shadows and shading. So one method I use a lot is I will use purple in my shadows, and I will use a yellowish orange, something bright, for my soft light layers for my lighting. And I like that. I've been doing that a lot, and I really do love the effects that gives. But I was wanting to do something a little bit different, so I went for a little bit more of a green. There is some purple, but a greenish pink, but like a turquoise, bluish green, for the vignette that's around the bottom especially. And I wanted to do a different color scheme because I'd noticed a lot in my art recently I had very similar color schemes, and I wanted to branch out from that and challenge myself there. So that was a little bit of the thought process behind the shading. It is subtle, but if you can find where I was working right now, I think shading is what I'm working on as I watch this recap and as you're watching this. I didn't record the screen while I was doing it this time because I didn't know for sure if this was going to be a YouTube video, and so I didn't want to record that process without knowing, and I wanted to go ahead and utilize Procreate's automatic time-lapse recording. So that's what this is. It was a lot of fun. I was glad I finally got a chance to really explore some of the personalities in drawing these characters. So that is this week's surprise YouTube video that was not previously scheduled but is now. So thank you for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed watching my process. I hope to be making more poster designs soon, because poster, book illustration kind of stuff I do enjoy a lot. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. I appreciate every single one of you.